Hello, everyone, and welcome back. 2 weeks ago, I talked about this conversation being a way of living. I talked about that this isn't a coping mechanism, this isn't a strategy, this is a lifestyle, this is a way of being in as a human being in this world. And off the back of that video, I got an email, um, somebody asking me, do I have to believe in all that wishy-washy magic stuff? And the short answer to that question is no, absolutely not. That's the great thing about this conversation. You don't have to believe in anything if it's not working for you, if it doesn't make sense to you. There isn't a need or a must. It isn't do these things and then your life will be complete, or do these things and then you'll never feel angry again or upset again. It's not true. The whole For me, the way the wishy-washy magic stuff really work for me. It resonates with me, it makes sense to me, and that's how I ground myself. That when I tap into my wisdom, that's what makes sense to me. So it's if you're on this journey and you're interested, but there's a lot of sort of like spiritual stuff that don't really make sense. And it's like, okay, well, that's all well and good, but I want something practical, something logical, something that actually makes sense. That's great too, because this conversation, this journey is both practical and has that spiritual element to it. It has both sides. So if you're looking for something that's practical, that's going to help you in your business, or it's going to help you in your life, your home life, or it's going to help you with anxiety, or it's going to help you sleep better, or be in less pain, or not be ill, something really human. It's going to help you in your human world. That's what you want, that's what you're looking for. Then there is a place here where all this wishy-washy stuff is just common sense. That yes, I put all these words on it that maybe makes it sound a lot more complicated, but at the end of the day, this conversation is pointing you back to your common sense. You know, if you've got pain and go see a doctor. If you don't have enough money for something, maybe set up a bank account, savings account. You know, there are basic things in human life that just fall under common sense. If you're bleeding out, you're not going to lay there and say, it's okay, the universe has got my back, I don't need to do anything. Being human is a hands-on game. We're here to play the part. If I want to build my business as a soul mentor, I have to put these YouTube videos out. Where I would go horribly wrong is thinking that it's on my shoulders, that it's all on me, that I have to say the right things, do the right things. I can't get it wrong. I can't say, I can't, push my glasses up or scratch my face, or I can have all of this thinking and decide that it's wrong and it shouldn't be like that. It should be different. Or I can surrender and I can allow the magic behind life, that energy force, that electricity to just power me up. It's kind of like one of those wind up toys. You just wind it up and that's it. It goes for ages and until it runs out of steam. And that's how we are. We are this vessel. And if these words don't resonate with you, just come back to common sense. That is the thing that will ground you. It's like, okay, well, she said a bunch of wishy-washy universe and magic stuff. What can I take from that? And when you look back to what you can take from it, what words can you change them into to make it make sense for you? Because words are just a tool that we have. We have this language of speech that we can use to talk about the untalkable, to talk about this thing, this formless realm that just it doesn't have words. And I've said this so many times, all of the magical stuff that I talk about doesn't have words, which is why it's important or and fun to stay in this conversation, because we get to ask questions and sort of get more curious about what it is to be human. And when we're suffering or when we're feeling a bit low or frustrated or whatever it is, when we're in that sort of foggy phase of consciousness and our consciousness is just a little bit lower than usual, it's nice to kind of be reminded that that's absolutely normal. You're having a human experience. That's what's happening. That's all that's ever happening. Whether life is making perfect sense and life is great, or whether you're on the completely opposite side or somewhere in the middle, it doesn't matter because it's all part of the human experience. And so when I talked about 2 weeks ago that this is a way of life, it isn't a policing your thoughts or controlling your thoughts. It's just, okay, so I'm curious. What is there more? It's a curiosity, it's a game. It's like I'm curious. Is there more to me than just me? Is there more to humans than meets the eye? And that's your own exploration. That's for you to discover for yourself. I can't tell you what's right and wrong because my right and wrong it's different to yours. So this conversation is so fun. It's so enriching that because because we get to explore something that we don't usually talk about. You go and meet your friends for coffee, or you see your colleagues at work and you talk about your day, you talk about the weather, you talk about just normal, mundane life stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But some people, like myself, we just wish for a deeper conversation, something that goes beyond the weather. It's really cold today. English people, we really love to talk about the weather. We really love to discuss how cold it is or discuss how hot it is. Oh, it's raining today. And we like to state the obvious. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But sometimes it's nice to really go deeper, like what's going on beneath the surface? Why do we feel low sometimes? Why does it feel that some people are searching for something and other people are just happy, sort of just happy in their human existence, and that's it. They don't need to search, they don't need to be any more sort of spiritually awakened or anything, and they're content in how they're living their life. And that's the great thing about this, that it doesn't matter what you do with your life. We just do it from for the pure joy, whatever it is we do. So if you're on this journey, you're listening to these conversations, you're listening to other spiritual teachers and or reading other books, you're doing it out of the pure joy that there is something in you that wants to know more, that you just want to explore and experiment, and other people are just content with where they are. Like neither is wrong or right. There isn't one size fits all. So when I go into all of that magic stuff, these are my insights and my wisdom and things that I have seen for myself that has allowed me to have a nicer human experience as Becca, that I can live in this world and I can thrive no matter what is going on, no matter what is going on internally inside my head, and no matter what is going on outside in the world, because I know that there is more to life. There is something bigger. When I'm feeling really stressed out, I know that it's just a moment. It's just a human experience. And how great is it that I can get stressed out and then I can let go and I can move past that stress. And it just becomes a memory. And then, oh, yeah, why was I even stressed about that thing? Doesn't matter now. And life just becomes this gentle game. And where I see it as practical, how can talking about our deeper nature, how can having these discussions about how we work from the inside out, how can this, help practical things, like having the house tidier, having more energy, having better health, how is that going to help those things? And from my experience, it's a byproduct. That when we clean up the inside, when we're calmer on the inside, and we know that it doesn't really matter what we do. If it genuinely doesn't matter what we do with our lives, what we do with our time, doesn't matter. What could we be doing instead? And we tap into that space in us. Okay, so if it genuinely doesn't matter what I do with my time, what would I want to be doing with my time? And it opens this world of possibilities that you could do anything, anything that's been on, this biggest dream of yours, or a little thing like, oh, I want to take up a sewing class or a dance class, or oh, I've never learnt to ride a bike before. I want to do that. I want to do some yoga. I want to change my jobs. I want to stay in my job, but I want to enjoy it more. It could be anything. I want to quit working. I don't want to work anymore. I'm not saying there's not going to be consequences. Of course, there's going to be consequences to the things you choose to do. But just imagine for a moment, if it actually didn't matter what you did with your time, what would you be doing with your time for the pure joy, for the pure fun? And from there, the bad health or the, or lack of health, lack of money, lack of energy, whatever it is that you're trying to overcome, it it fizzles away. There is a magic to it, and I don't know another word of putting on there, other than common sense, really. There is like common sense and magic can be interchangeable because it really is an experience thing. It's like one of those jokes that are not funny until unless you were there. Like if you're at a party and somebody's told a joke and then you're then trying to relay that joke to your friend who wasn't at the party and they're like, yeah, that's not really that funny. So I'm explaining this thing about ourselves, about us being spiritual beings having a human experience that's just so magical and so profound and yet so simple because I've had this experience. I've had a first-hand experience of things dropping away, big, heavy things that were so difficult to move past, and they've just dropped away overnight. And I can let go of anger and I can let go of annoyance and I can know that I don't have to stay being stressed. And I can equally know, actually, I want to stay stressed about this at the moment. I'm not ready to let go of this. I'm going to hold on because I'm not ready to let go. So I know I can do either and it's okay. Like it genuinely doesn't matter. And when we because like, I don't know about you guys, but I get these thoughts in my head like, oh, I shouldn't do this because, and it's an empty because. And the minute we question that, oh, why shouldn't we do this? And it's a noticing, like I've said before, it's not a controlling, it's definitely a noticing, like why am I thinking that? Why do I think I shouldn't be doing X, Y, or Z? Or why do I think I should be doing this, that, or the other? And sometimes it really is this empty threat. It's like because blank, because nothing. And when we question, what if I didn't do that thing? What if I did do that thing? We can then hear from a different space. We can hear from our true inner wisdom. Is that the right thing for us to do? Whatever it may be. Is it the right thing to maybe stop and have a rest? Um, like the other day, for example, I felt really overwhelmed at work, and I'm not entirely sure why, I guess. I was just completely frazzled. And then I was like, "Do you know what? Let me just sit down for a minute." And I sat down for about 3 minutes, literally 3 minutes. And after sitting down for 3 minutes, I felt so much better. Now, it's not saying every time I feel overwhelmed, it means I need to sit down for 3 minutes. But in that moment, that's what I needed. And I then realized I was trying to do about three different things in one time, like really quickly, and it just wasn't working. So I sat down, and in that space, allowed the truth of me to speak. Rather than my head being so noisy and messy, it allowed that magic space, that common sense to speak and say, okay, relax. It's okay if you don't get it all done. And in the end, so that is the surrender. That little bit there is the surrender, is the letting go. And then after I had my little sit down, I got up and I'd done all the things I wanted to get done. So that's when I talk about the practicalities in this conversation, that's what it is. Because when we're trying to juggle so many things and we're getting frustrated, we're getting worked up, what's what's happening is that we're blocking ourselves. It's almost like we're building these blocks. So let's say a problem arises, or we've decided, I've decided that I need to empty the dishwasher, cook the dinner, and entertain the kids all at the same time. If it's just popped into my head because that's what thoughts do. So I've decided I need to do those three things all at the same time within a limited time frame. So I've put a building block there. I've basically put myself in this box. I've trapped myself. And now, because I've done that, I'm now stressing because the time is going, and I'm not able to do these three things at the same time. So I'm getting really frustrated, and then I'm getting boxed in my own little box of limitations. I'm getting more and more trapped and more suffocated. And it's like, okay, I need to do these things faster. And then I drop something, or I stub my toe, or something happens, something goes wrong, and then I get more and more flustered and more stressed, and nothing's working right. And that's what happens. So when wisdom is allowed to like wiggle its way through all of those boxes, all of those blockages, it says stop. And then that little voice says, no, don't stop, because if you stop, nothing will get done. So it's like this argument between ego and wisdom. And we're so used to listening to the ego, to the noise, we're so used to listening to that we forget there is a clearer part of us. There is a wisdom, common sense part of us that we can listen to whenever we want, whenever we're ready. It's there. And so, what happened when I stopped and listened to that part of me? It became clear that I didn't need to do three things at once. I could do one task at a time. And that sounds so mundane, so normal, so everyday. But that's what this conversation is. It is the normal, the ordinary, and the everyday, and it is the extraordinary, the magic, and the wishy-washy. It's all of it and everything in between. So yeah, I hope that was so lovely, and I really hope there was something helpful in that. And thank you so much for your question. You know who you are. You asked to be anonymous, so I will respect that. Um, and then I have some notices just before I sign off. One notice is that I've started a new playlist called Life's Big and Small Questions. And each audio will be I'm going to keep it quite short, like 3 to 10 minutes long, each one. Um, so any questions that you've got, deep questions, shallow questions, when I say shallow, I mean like little small questions, not shallow as in whatever the other meaning of shallow is. But yeah, whatever questions you have, from, how do I get my toddler to stop having tantrums, to what is the meaning of life, and everything in between, whatever it is that occurs to you that you're a bit confused about, um, I know a lot of my conversations sometimes can be maybe a bit not necessarily confusing, but they can be, especially if you're new to this conversation. And I know I can say things quite flippantly sometimes, but I've said so many times before that the words aren't what's important, it's the feeling. There is this inner knowing, this inner guidance for you, what is right for you, and what makes sense to you. So, yeah, any questions, as always, feel free to ask, but specifically for the Life's Big and Small Questions playlist that will be on this channel, and I'll put a video will appear somewhere below this video as it's ending. So you'll be able to go to that playlist, and audios will be uploaded onto there soon, and they'll be coming in every 2 weeks. So these conversations are every 2 weeks on the Wednesday, and then the Wednesdays in between, there'll be Life's Big and Small Questions. So every Wednesday, there'll be something new posted on my YouTube page. So do stay tuned, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on anything. And also, this conversation is also part of a WhatsApp group, so you can actually join these conversations live on Zoom. So there's a Zoom call every 2 weeks where you can actually be part of this conversation, which is really nice. It's nice to chat um, on like in real time, but of course, you can still continue to send your emails through, send your questions via email, which will all be below this video. And if it's not for whatever reason, just comment below this video and I'll send you the appropriate details. But I wish you all the best, and I will see you again next Wednesday. Bye for now.